Have you ever picked up your phone to do just one small thing, maybe reply to a message or to check the weather? And the next thing you know, you are watching someone's day in my life or get ready with me reel, then a travel vlog. Suddenly, 45 minutes have disappeared, and you realizing you don't even remember why you picked up your phone in the first place. That has happened to me more times than I would like to admit. Hi, if you're new here, I am Purnima and you are watching About the Flavors. As someone who creates content and also manages social media, my phone is literally part of my work. So, for a long time, I convinced myself that all the screen time was productive until one day I checked my screen time. That number honestly surprised me because so much of it came from mindlessly scrolling. It always started with just one video, and somehow one video become five, five become 50, minutes become hours. People call this doom scrolling, and honestly, I think it's one of the biggest distractions of our generation. Every minute, thousands of new videos are uploaded across social media. So, expecting ourselves to stay away from our phones forever is not realistic. But using them intentionally, that is something we can actually control. So, about a week ago, I challenged myself that for next 7 days, I wanted to reduce my screen time not by deleting my digital life but by changing my relationship with it. And today, I want to share what genuinely helped me because these are things I am still practicing every single day. I stopped opening my phone immediately after waking up. For the longest time, my morning started with checking messages and notifications. I wasn't even fully awake before my brain was already consuming hundreds of other people's life. I noticed that on the mornings I stayed away from my phone for even first 30 minutes, I felt calmer. I wasn't rushing, I wasn't comparing. My mind felt quieter. I set app limits not because they physically stop me, but because they interrupt autopilot. That little notification saying you have reached your limit almost feels like someone tapping me on my shoulder and asking, did you actually come here for something? Sometimes I continue scrolling, sometimes I close the app, but now at least it's a conscious decision. I removed the apps for a few days. That made a little bit of distance. I realized I wasn't opening Instagram because I wanted to. It's because my thumb had memorized where the icon was. So it's crazy how automatic our habits become. I used to think notifications were harmless until I noticed how many times they interrupted my focus. One vibration, one banner, one tiny red dot, and suddenly I was checking something that wasn't even important. Now my phone stays much quieter, and surprisingly, so does my mind. I learned that telling yourself don't scroll rarely works because your brain is not actually asking for Instagram, it's asking for dopamine. It wants something enjoyable, something interesting, something that feels rewarding. And that's when I came across this idea of something called a dopamine menu. It is actually based on a concept shared by therapists and productivity community inspired by ADHD friendly strategies. The idea is very simple. Instead of relying on endless scrolling for quick dopamine hit, you intentionally create a list of activities that also give your brain that rewarding feeling. Think of it exactly like a restaurant menu. You don't eat dessert for every meal, right? You have different options depending on what you need. So I made my own. These are my quick mood boosters. Whenever I feel the urge to scroll, I first choose one thing from this list. Sometimes I just walk around my balcony. Sometimes I sit outside without taking my phone. Maybe I water my plants or I clean one tiny corner of my room. And recently, I have started listening to music often. I didn't realize how disconnected I had become from simply listening to songs without doing anything else. And honestly, it feels so much better than watching random videos. In addition, whenever I finish one of these tiny tasks, I tick off my to do list. Knowing you finished a task is a reward too. These are activities for 30 minutes and longer, like reading, painting, playing Sudoku, or learning something new, anything that keeps my hands and mind busy. These are activities that completely pull me away from my phone. When I spend even 30 minutes creating something, I don't crave scrolling as much afterwards. Maybe because creating feels far more satisfying than consuming. A dopamine menu doesn't say you can never scroll again. Instead, scrolling becomes the dessert, not the main meal. So, after finishing my work or completing a hobby, I let myself watch a few videos guilt free or watch an episode of a series or any of my favorite sport. The difference is now I choose it instead of it choosing me. I'm not definitely someone who has completely stopped doom scrolling. Even during this challenge, there were days I lost control, days where one reel still becomes 20. But I stopped treating that as a failure because habits don't change in one perfect day. They change through hundreds of small choices. Every time you pause before opening Instagram, or every time you choose to walk, or listening to music, or a hobby, you're slowly teaching your brain that dopamine exists outside your screen too. And I think that is something many of us have forgotten. Intentional living doesn't mean removing everything enjoyable from your life. It simply means choosing what deserves your attention. If you have been struggling with doom scrolling too, maybe try creating your own dopamine menu. Just start with a few activities that genuinely make you feel good. If you do make one, I would genuinely love to know what is on your menu. Leave it in the comments because I might even steal a few ideas for mine. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you so much for watching. Until see you in the next one, take care.